Number two for me is the media itself. I like history, and I hope I don't delay you here in these historical facts. The first newspaper in Uganda started in 1911. That newspaper was called Mango Notes. Mango Notes. 1911, it was eventually when, all the other areas of Uganda came under the British rule, they called it Uganda Notes. Uganda Notes was started by the Anglican Church in Mengo. The Catholic Church, recognizing that Mengo and the Anglicans are ahead of us, in 1912, they began a newspaper called Muno. Muno, that I think collapsed about 15 years ago, was the longest surviving newspaper over a stretch of time. What does that tell you? The foundations of media in Uganda do not have what I call a national collective standard. We were begun on a parochial interest. You are trying to stand either as religion or to defend a tribal interest, but you have not evolved out of social change. You may have adapted, you now know 5 Ws, you know how to interview, but really your foundations determine your trajectory of growth. Let me just give you an example. When you leave this room, go and look for a magazine called The Economist. The Economist began in 1848. It is still underpublished. It is still published. But The Economist started in 1848 because of social changes in the capitalist societies of the West. There was a rising working class, and they needed a news magazine to channel their views against feudalists, against kingdoms. A new society was emerging and it needed a voice. Social change, working class, religious interest in Uganda. Now, today, if you read that Economist, they defend the liberal order of the West. They defend democracy, they defend homosexuality, because their background is social change, where they came from. Now, in my opinion, that lack of what you call a national interest, when I speak as someone who comes from a particular part of the country. I speak because I represent this religious interest. I speak, you do not find a central plank called national collective values, national interest. Because we lack that, so many people rely on rumors, yet these rumors are really meant to focus on individuals, not to grow our country. That is my number two source of what I see as generating this situation. Now, if you remember, we have the strongest curve here growing called politics. Why are people rushing to politics? To find, one, a job, because they cannot find jobs in the economy. They would like to get jobs in politics, and therefore they are willing to do anything, say anything, create any situation in order that it can give them advantage. They come and sell to you the newspaper, the radios, who do not understand the national collective interest, these rumors, because then they want to keep the job. Why are they rushing into politics? Well, they want to keep the regional caucuses, tribal caucuses. I am sure in Parliament you have seen these caucuses being formed based on particular regions, yet a young man in Gulu who has no job is as in a worse situation as the one in Kampala, as the one in Kabalole. Our caucuses should be on manufacturing. Caucuses should be on national interest, not necessarily where I come from. Now, because of this growth of this curve, you have speculation, you have superstition, it replaces learning, it replaces values.